Welcome back. As you continue to look at live pictures, this is Summit Mall in Fairlawn. This is just north and west of Akron, where we've been following breaking news for the better part of an hour and a half now, where there was some type of shooting. Well, we know there was a shooting at the Summit Mall. First things first here, nobody was hit by the gunfire. We understand from Akron police that this shooting was in the parking lot. We're not sure if this is the parking lot where that shooting happened or if it was on the other side of the mall. We saw a huge police presence that has been reduced at this point, but clearly a chaotic scene for the better part of an hour and a half at the Summit Mall.
Yeah, so the shot was fired, at least one shot fired in the parking lot of the mall. We can tell you one person is in police custody. It appears, judging by the people who are not able to get into the mall, that mall is still closed. It had been on lockdown. We were hearing that perhaps that lockdown was over. But again, this is Summit Mall. There was a shooting in the parking lot. No one was hit, but we do know that one suspect is in custody. If you're tuning in earlier, you can see this is a much calmer scene. Most of the police vehicles have left and the crime scene tape is now down, but certainly it has been an incredibly frightening day here outside Summit Mall on this Friday afternoon as we lead up to Mother's Day with so many people out and about shopping. We
heard some audio, some dispatch audio of the chase as police chased after this suspect. They saw the gun. They saw the suspect throw the gun. They say they found the gun. We saw video of someone being put in the back of a Fairlawn cruiser getting medical attention. Do not know at this point if that is indeed the suspect. I'm sure a lot of people were unnerved by what happened here, so there is still a big part of this story left to be told.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we are certainly been monitoring a little bit of rain that's been moving through parts of the area. Lots of cloud cover, though, pretty much everywhere else. This is going to be the bigger trend here as we kind of head through the rest of this evening as our weather pattern takes a little bit more of an active turn to wrap up the work week and look ahead towards our Mother's Day weekend. So showers will be around. I would bring the rain gear with you wherever your Friday evening plans may take you. As we get into the day tomorrow, it's a relatively quiet day. Temperatures warming up, but we will have a few scattered showers and storms possible as we get into the later part of the afternoon and evening, so do keep that in mind. Once that front passes through, cooler temperatures, that's the next big thing we will be watching as we look ahead towards Mother's Day. So far this afternoon, the rain has been pretty hit or miss. Not everybody dealing with some of these showers at all times, but I do expect that we're going to see a little bit of this moisture continuing to fill in as what you're seeing just off to our southwest. So that's kind of that feed of moisture that we'll be dealing with over the next several hours. So as I said, if you have any evening plans out and about, keep some of that rain gear with you. Not a guarantee that it's a complete washout next couple of hours, but I do think you will have at least some showers around the area. And again, winds are going to be out of the southwest to keep us a little bit more mild, so that is something we will watch then as well. You'll notice on your future view, hit or miss activity. We get later into tonight, again, still more widespread showers around the area. That will last with us through the early hours of tomorrow morning, and then that system will clear off towards the east. Give us some sunshine, temperatures back mid to upper 60s, and then we will be watching for, again, some cooler temperatures to work back in just in time for Mother's Day.
Now to your top four at 4. Star Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is out again for the year. The team placed him on the physically unable to perform list, which means he can't play at all in 2026. The linebacker suffered a neck injury during a game in October of 2024 and hasn't played since. Now there are doubts he will ever play again.
That's too bad. 15 Beagles getting a fresh start. This is in Akron. They're just a small number of the 1,500 rescued from a Wisconsin facility that breeds dogs for laboratory research. They all got checked out by vets. Aren't they cute? And they started on some flea and heartworm prevention programs. Now they are meeting their foster families.
There will be no charges against the dump truck driver who hit the East 222nd Street exit sign Monday morning. That caused it to fall onto I-90 East. The driver was operating a Cleveland water pollution control vehicle. Police say the dump truck began having equipment errors and the bed extension began rising while the driver was actually driving on the highway. Thankfully, though, no one was injured.
Police say the man with the gun in this picture is a serial criminal. Convicted felon Lawrence Sturdivant of Garfield Heights pleaded guilty for his crimes. He was out on parole when police say he committed another string of robberies. Now he's being sent back to prison for 29 years. 14 people were terrorized with what we're told was life-threatening violence.
New video now from when police say a 20-year-old man opened fire inside an Oklahoma high school.
Surveillance video shows the principal right there, Kirk Moore, pushing the gunman onto a bench and holding him down while another staffer kicks the weapon away. Moore was actually shot in the leg during this confrontation. The 20-year-old suspect is a former student. In an exclusive interview, Principal Moore tells CBS News what made him do it.
I don't know what I was thinking. I just knew I was just running to get to whatever was going on.
Was this a conscious thought, or do you think that this was instinct?
I think it was just instinct. You know, in 37 years, you go through trainings and drills and what you should do. That all goes out the window.
Investigators say Moore's action made certain no one else at the school was hurt.
Oil and gas prices are showing minor improvements as the Iran war ceasefire shakes but holds. The U.S. benchmark remains in the 90s. AAA reports a gallon of regular gas is averaging $4.55, down a penny from yesterday. It's $4.75 though here in Ohio. And once again, we looked around with help from Gas Buddy for the cheapest gas. You'll pay $4.19 at the Gas USA in Cleveland on West 117th. It's $4.43 at the Mapco in Green on Maslin Road and $4.58 at the BP in North Canton on North Main.
All right, moving on now. Breaking at this hour, 3 hikers killed, others rescued after a volcano erupts in Indonesia. There were 20 hikers climbing the volcano at the time of the eruption. Rescue crews managed to get to those hikers and get them to safety. Eventually, they were able to pull out 17 survivors who had been stranded near the crater. Bodies of the 3 people who died remain on the mountain. Search operations will resume tomorrow.
President Trump announced a 3-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Writing on social media today that he said all direct fighting would stop and both sides would return 1,000 prisoners. The ceasefire would go into effect tomorrow. The president says negotiations to end the conflict continue.
Ohio put millions of dollars behind a program to make child care a bit more affordable.
So 6 months after launching, we're finding that money has barely been touched.
Keith Grant joins us live now from a child care center, Keith, where they just have not had any success at all getting families signed up.
Brian and Nicole, no success here in Mentor. So far, the kids have gone home for the day, but for families that walk into this classroom every morning, affording childcare can stretch their dollars pretty thin. So that's why the state put that money aside to help out and have employers pay part of the bill. But we're finding that employers aren't buying in.
Children at My Kids Childcare and Mentor have lots of space to run and play, and the babies spend their days eating cottage cheese and muffins. Owner Anita Dakari makes sure of it, but there's a lot of dollar signs for families here.
We use my husband's paycheck pretty much to pay for childcare.
Aubrey Hughes has 2 children under 4 here, and it costs her family half their income. Her family's budget is stretched so thin that a financial counselor told them to make more money or get another job, an option they couldn't take.
We would never be sleeping or eating or spending any time with our kids.
To help families like Hughes, the state opened up money to cut those costs last fall. The Child Care Credit Program splits the bill 3 ways. The state covers 20%, and employers and families each pay 40%.
I had a list of parents that I was catching, and I'm like, please take this to your employer. And one by one, as they kept coming back, disappointed, saying my employer does not want to participate in this.
The state admits startup has been slower than anticipated. State data we requested shows only 21 employers have signed on statewide, spending just a fraction of the $10 million set aside.
It hurts because it's something that I cannot fix myself. It costs them money to bring their child here, and it costs us to operate. There are days where I'm just like, oh, we should just go ahead and close.
Hughes and her family didn't qualify for the program. And while they're barely getting by, she makes the most of every dollar spent.
Photos of them growing, and it always makes me cry.
All right, look at this classroom right now. It's empty, and it'll look the same way on Monday, too. Dakari, the owner of the childcare facility here in Mentor, is participating in a nationwide protest, a day without childcare, to show those employers how important childcare is to keeping their employees working. Keith Grant, 19 News.
Keith, thank you. Well, more bomb threats at area schools today. Ely Elementary and Elyria High School, they received threats around 10 this morning. Students were evacuated. Other schools in Elyria were put on lockdown just as a precaution. Of course, this comes after 5 school districts yesterday, you'll remember, we reported on, including Cleveland, received similar calls. No bombs were ever found. No one was hurt. Police are now looking into who is behind these threats.
Well, for thousands of Northeast Ohio families, they soon could be wondering how they will feed their children. We're less than 4 weeks away now from a new federal deadline that changes the guidelines for getting those benefits. First at 4, Katie Tursick spoke with one mom who's really worried about the future.
I think if I didn't have SNAP, it would be a big financial crash for me. Like I said, I use SNAP to support my son, to make healthy meals.
For Constance Loper, the stakes are real. The 20-year-old is a mom and a full-time college student. She helps support herself and her son with the help of SNAP benefits.
The different requirements would impact me, like it would make me struggle just having to keep on going. I am in school, so just stressful, the hassle of keep having to do the paperwork.
Starting June 1st, people on SNAP must prove they are meeting new federal work requirements or temporarily lose their food assistance. That means you have to work, volunteer, or go to school for at least 80 hours a month to keep your benefits. County officials estimate 5,400 people could be at risk. Kristen Warzoka, the president of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, is bracing for the fallout.
We expect that we will see some increase in demand from people who either fall off the program or frankly are on the program and just really struggling.
The food bank says it is stocking up and has county caseworkers on site to help people navigate the changes. However, if someone gets kicked off of SNAP, they can still regain their eligibility if they comply with the work requirements. As for Lopez, she thinks she'll qualify, but she's worried about the thousands of others that may not.
So it just makes me sad.
If you are on SNAP, you'll want to make sure that you check your county's website and that your records are up to date by June 1st. In Cleveland, Katie Tursick, 19 News.